So welcome back, drifters. Today what we're doing is we're introducing more problems into my life. Yeah, evidently I don't have enough of those because I decided to get another project car, and that's what we're doing today. Now, if you clicked on this video, chances are you saw some weird clickbaity title. I'm telling you, it's not clickbait. This thing legit was forgotten about for about 8 years. It was sitting in a warehouse completely covered in dust. I mean, it was filthy. Now, luckily, the guy that we bought it from owned a business, and he actually knew a guy that had a tow truck, so we got the thing towed for free. We basically negotiated into the price when we got this thing, but it really came in handy because this thing was not running. It was just sitting there basically dead for the last 8 years. And now you might be wondering, well, why would you go and buy a car that's been sitting for that long? You don't know what's wrong with it. You don't even know if the motor is good. You don't know what's up with the transmission or any of those things. I think I just hate myself, maybe. I don't know. Anytime that you're dealing with a vehicle that's been sitting for 8+ years, you're gonna run into problems. Because not only has the thing not ran in forever, but also all the fluids are gonna be worn out. If there was fuel in the fuel tank, that's gonna be bad. Like, there's just gonna be a ton of things that are just gonna go from just sitting. Like, vehicles need to be driven, they need to move around, they need to run, and sitting around is probably one of the worst things you can do for them. But don't take what I'm saying as a negative thing. Anytime we find something that's broken or worn out from years of just sitting or just from years of use is an opportunity for us to fix something or even make it better than what it was before. Like, there's a lot of places on this vehicle that even from the factory weren't necessarily the best, but it's going to give us an opportunity to make something even better. We're going to make this thing into an overlanding machine. Like, we want this thing to be super reliable, something that we can drive all across the country, go and explore different campsites and do all kinds of fun projects. But in order to get there, we got to first get this thing back up and running. And that is no easy task. Like, it is going to be a monumental task. But I'm really looking forward to the challenge of this build, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing just how far we get with the Landy. So what we have here is a 1996 Land Rover Discovery. This thing I managed to find on Facebook Marketplace. It was quite a good deal. I got it for all of $3 grand. Turns out that the guy that I bought it from was actually the original owner. And boy, is there a story behind this vehicle. So for starters, this thing has been sitting since 2017. So now you might be wondering, why is it that this thing isn't running? Why has it been sitting for the last 8 years? And why would the original owner just hold on to a broken car for that long? Well, it's kind of a sad story. But as it turns out, he was trying to get it fixed. It just so happens that the guy that was working on it wasn't able to finish it. So from my understanding, the original mechanic that was working on this thing actually died from cancer. I don't know the full story behind it, and if anybody does, be sure to let me know in the comments or DM me on Instagram somewhere. I would love to get the full story behind this build, especially as we go moving forward, especially if somebody knows his name or something. I'd like to integrate that into this build somehow. But before he left, he actually left us a whole bunch of parts. And these parts are going to be a clue as to what we're going to have to do to actually get this thing back up and running. Okay, so as you know, everybody has a different way of doing things. Now, for me, I don't like the method of just throwing all your bolts in a bucket and hoping for the best, but I kind of get it. If I was the one that tore this apart, I would probably recognize the bolts and know where they go. Me personally, if I'm doing it, I'm going to bag it separately and, you know, be a little bit more organized. But that's okay. Everybody does it different. But here's the thing. From everything that I can see here, it looks like he was in the process of doing a cylinder head. Now, cylinder heads aren't that bad, especially on this, because this design is based off of a 1960s Buick. So, like, it's a simple V8 pushrod motor, but there's a lot of parts that are kind of tricky to get, and it's going to take us building up a list of everything that we actually need to replace, so that we can get everything ordered to actually fix this thing and get it going back down the road. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but as you can tell, somebody has had a fun time cutting the cats off of this vehicle, and unfortunately, one of them, they just cut the wire completely. I mean, it's a hack job under here. So at some point, we're gonna need new cats, because evidently during some of its life when it was sitting, these things just got hacked off and someone made some money off of them. So another thing that's missing is this radiator here. It turns out that they were actually getting it fixed. He brought it to a shop to get it welded and repaired and everything. But unfortunately, he didn't tell anybody where it was before he passed. So that radiator is long gone. Now, unfortunately, I also don't know if this AC compressor has been bled or anything, but it looks like everything's still hooked up. So it may still work. I'm not sure. If it were me, I would just leave it like this and it would be fine, but it's not me, so I really don't know. That's something we're gonna have to find out whenever we go to put it all back together. Another common failure point on these is the front drive shaft because there's no way to lube it. And this one is no slouch to that either, because this one snapped and smashed the crap out of that. Now luckily we should be able to fix it. It's just there's a broken stud on this mount here, so we're also going to need another stud for that too. So it's just a list of problems. Now there are also numerous leaks on this thing, which some could be just from sitting and old age, but we're definitely gonna have to address that. So the shift lever to the transmission is actually missing its cotter pin. I can't find it, so that's another thing we're gonna have to fix. This case looks like it's completely coated in grime and dirt and all kinds of nastiness. This is kind of cool. This is actually the original Land Rover muffler. It still has the little print on it. Isn't that crazy? So another big selling point for this thing for me was the complete lack of rust in the frame. Like, it is in really good shape. I mean, I can tell this thing's never really been off-roaded like at all. I mean, it's really clean, and these things are notorious for rusting out. So as far as the bones of this truck goes, it's really solid. Now it does have a little bit of body damage. It looks like right here somebody like hit a pole or something and kind of drug the car across it, but like, it's from 1996. You're gonna have some damage. So now none of these tires are gonna pass the cut because they are just all old and rotted, and some of them are flat. So like, no matter what, we're gonna end up needing wheels and tires eventually anyway, because we are gonna end up lifting this thing just a little bit. Now, as far as interior goes for this car, this is a 29-year-old vehicle, and like, the dash is still intact in Texas. That is highly uncommon, and the headliner is still intact. Now, we got a couple of these little guys that are broke off, but it's just a little plastic clip. I could 3D print one of those, no problem. Easy fix, but like, it's actually like really solid for how old it is. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. And let me show you the best part about this. It's these 90s era doors. I mean, that is solid. This is the kind of door that if you get your finger jammed in there, it's probably popping off. So I gotta say, one of my favorite things is these door handles. Like, look at how long this door handle is. Like, you can't miss it. Like, there's just no way to miss it. It's made out of like solid metal wrapped in like this, like, it feels like kind of like a hard plastic kind of, but like, you grip that and you like, it feels like a good solid door. Like, it ain't going anywhere. I have no idea if these window motors work, but that's a problem for a different day. Check out this coupon I found. If you look there, if you look down there, you can see the expiration date is in 2017. Like, this car is basically a time capsule. Someone definitely had kids in this car. It's a little Hello Kitty sock. And I will say, I really like the interior in this thing, even back here. It's kind of weird. You have like these like oh shit handles, I'm assuming for like when you're going off-road and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. I don't know if that's actually what that's for, but it seems like that would be. But like, the other thing that's cool about this is how tall the roof is in here. Like, I could fit a lot of stuff in the back of this thing. Holy shit, look at that. No way. It's the cotter pin that goes to the transmission. It was sitting right next to the shifter, so good spot for that, I guess. But in the meantime, there's a lot of plans I have for this thing in the future. Ultimately, right now, the main goal is just to get this thing back up and running and going down the road. So the first thing that we got to do is start working on pulling those cylinder heads so we can go ahead and do the head gaskets. And then we'll get into the actual nitty-gritty of what we're going to end up doing with this thing. So it's pretty exciting, but I don't want to spoil anything too much just yet. So this is kind of silly. I went to go put this up here, and then I realized the hood's made of aluminum. Doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to find another way to secure this. So it turns out there is some metal parts on here. You just had to be a little more selective of it. And then I just add a little zip tie for safety. So luckily for me, when it comes to tearing this thing down, it's pretty much already there. All I need to do really is pull off these rocker arms, label all the push rods, make sure we get them all in the right spot so we don't mix those up later. And then I'm just gonna pull it out with the headers on because, well, there's no cats, so it should just come straight out nice and easy. And then I'll just do that on a bench. Way easier than doing it inside here. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get these things off. Okay, so before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to show you a little trick, and that's that you got to get a box that's like somewhat tall, not like super tall, but tall enough you can jab a couple holes in it, because what we're going to end up doing is putting the push rods in here, and we're going to label which one it goes to in the motor. That way it has a place to sit, and then we don't lose where they go, because these have to go back in the same spot, because it's fitted for that lifter. It's kind of worn in. This thing's got a lot of miles, and we're just going to try to get them all lined up where they were already, and it just makes life a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and prep this. Okay, so now you can see what I did. I basically labeled it, so I have two little slits for each one, intake and exhaust, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to just stack them in there. That way they hold nice in place. It's tall enough box to where it's not going to like fall over and fall out. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to set it on my workbench and leave it there and not touch it until I need it. let's go ahead and get this sucker out. So the first thing we're going to do is remove these bolts here, but we're going to start from our way in the middle and work our way out. The last thing we want to do is snap this shaft. Okay, so now we should be able to pull this thing straight off and then go set it aside. Okay, so now's where this box comes in handy, because what we're going to do is we're going to take these out and we're going to put them in exactly where they go. And that's what makes the box so nice for organizing. Now we just got to remove those 14 bolts. We're going to do it in reverse order that they're installed on. Is this like some weird size? I think the problem is these bolts are like slightly messed up. They look like they might be a little rounded. That's gone forever. Oh, I'm bending the damn pry bar to get that off. It's gonna break loose or it's gonna break, one or the other. And at this point, I don't really care which one.
Why would you say that?
Fix it.
Why would you say that?
Oh, baby, come on. Holy f, that is on there. Oh my God. Dude, what did they use to put this on? Okay, there it goes. Whew, that's one. Uh-oh. So there's like some weird brass piece, looks like. I'm guessing maybe it's to the rocker arm? I'll have to find out. Oh my gosh, I need leverage. Jack pull always works. Pop that in there. Oh my gosh. That is so tight.
That's what he said, right, guys? Because of gay?
I think I'm gonna have to get in this bitch.
Good one.
Well, it's not as much room as my truck, but see what we can do. Oh, golly, I hope that didn't snap. That sounded horrible. Whoops. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to remove these exhaust manifolds. So I'm gonna spray all this down with some PB Blaster for these exhaust manifolds, because I definitely want to get these off, but I don't want to break them. So we're just gonna let that soak, and then we'll take these suckers off.
So I'm not quite sure why, but these bolts were already loose. I didn't even have to crank that hard to get them off.
Well, that was one of the easier header removals I've ever had to do. Luckily, it's because most of it has been completely chopped off. And I have a little bit better access to those bolts down there, so I should be able to get it off a little bit easier now that the header's gone. Yeah, way better having the header out of the way. Yeah, because now I can definitely get that on there. Just need to get some leverage. There we go. Alright, we at least got it loose. So nerve-wracking sometimes with that stuff. God, I hope that didn't round. Oh man, it doesn't look good. So it looks like I stripped that bolt. It's gonna break loose or it's gonna break, one or the other. And at this point, I don't really care which one. Yeah, no, it's just stripping. Yep, I'm gonna have to come up with a game plan for that. And I can't remove any of the other bolts until I get that, so back to the drawing board. Oops. Wow, that's not very strong. So you can see how I got that thing nice and rounded off. We're gonna have to go ahead and try to fix this. So I got one of these little bolt extractors. I'm gonna go ahead and try to pop it on there and see if we can get this thing off. We'll see. It might actually give us the bite that we need to get it, but I don't know. It's kind of a last ditch effort at this point, and we'll see what happens. I just hope that it works. Mother f***er. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, that bolt extractor is on there. Oh no, it's a 3/8. We're gonna try to adapt it, but I don't have faith in that. That is not ideal. Come on, baby. It sounds like it's grabbing, but you just never know. Oh! Oh, got it. Oh my God, it worked. Oh, wow, that is nasty looking, but it worked. Hell yeah. Oh man, where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, wow. Check that thing out. That thing is so cooked. But that extractor worked, it did the job. All right, now let's try to get the rest of these without stripping anything. I'm too big for this thing. Motherfucker. What is going on here? Did I f this thing up? Great, now this is broken and it's not coming out. Nice. Love it. Ow! My hand. Ow! My hand. Ah, it's bound to happen eventually. And now the last one. Ugh. Ow. Oh. Why is that still tight? I thought I already got this one. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Alright, we are getting this fucking head off. One way or another. What is happening? I'm really confused right now. What the f? I thought I already got this one. Ow. Getting this puppy off. Ugh. That's not good. F me, dude. Why? Oh. Ha. Oh. Okay, I got it. Ah. I really thought that I was screwed there for a second. I should have just pulled that thing out when I did the other ones. Wow. Okay. F that bolt. Ow. Alright, whatever. Got that one. Okay. Now we can pull this sucker. Please, no slipped liners. Please be good. No big issues. Come on now. Let's see some good news, shall we? Oh, dude. Holy shit. That's a lot of carbon buildup. Alright, I'm gonna go get this inside. Alright. Let's get this off and take a look at this head gasket. Huh. There is so much carbon buildup on this thing. Kind of crazy, but it looks okay as far as the head gasket goes. Look at the amount of carbon buildup inside that piston right there. That is so much. That is so much carbon. Just look at that. What the hell? That is a ton. I hope that's not what I think it is, but that does not feel good right there. I'm a little bit worried about this liner here because I can feel what feels like a lip.
So at the time when I was working on this thing, I didn't notice the outline of what looks like coolant around this liner. More than likely, this may actually be the thing that was going wrong, so it may have been a slip liner, but I'm not 100% sure.
Hopefully it's just carbon. I don't know why it would be, but I can literally feel that with my finger, and that's not good. So I cleaned it up a little bit, but you can see there where there's definitely a ridge. Because this one over here looks fine. This one here looks kind of questionable as well. And then this one over here, it's really hard to tell. It just, man, I don't know. Doesn't look good. Okay, so here's the thing. So if it was a slip liner, there should be some marking on here. And the thing is that there's so much carbon buildup, but I need to find out whether or not this thing actually has that issue, because if it does, if it's a slip liner, then we're just beyond cooked. So I don't know. It's really hard to tell right now. So after a long sleepless night of not knowing exactly what I'm going to do next, I've decided I'm going to take off the other cylinder head. I'm going to take a look at that one and see how those liners look, and hopefully I can get it done before the sun goes down so that way we can get a better view of what's going on. Because looking at this stuff at night, it's way harder to see what's actually happening. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pop this thing off real quick, and then we'll take a look and see whether or not this engine is actually salvageable. If it's not, we got a lot more work ahead of us.
So now, even if this thing does have slip liners, let's say, for instance, that they actually did slip on this thing, it is totally a repairable thing. Like, you can easily change them out. You can go to the machine shop and have them re-drill it, get a whole new, what they call like either a new sleeve, or you can get a top hat, or you can even pin the sleeves that are in there if they're still good. Now, the problem is doing all that is very, very expensive, so I'm not so worried about whether or not it can be repaired. The real question is it worth repairing?
Oh wow, I just realized I cracked one of my sockets. Holy shit. I literally cracked a socket. I don't know if you could see that, but wow. okay, that's not great. So needless to say, none of these things were fitting right no matter what I did. I tried all kinds of different sizes and nothing was tight enough to actually grip this thing properly. And I've never had this kind of problem when it comes to stripping bolts. Like, I'm usually really good about not stripping bolts, but I literally stripped like 3 or 4 on each head just trying to get it off. And the bolt extractor set I had originally, I was actually stripping that, trying to get it off. So I went to Harbor Freight and I got some of these Quinn bolt extractors, and these things worked awesome. These were actually way better than the Amazon specials, except for the fact that they get stuck on the bolt and it's a pain in the butt to get off. They do come off, but I mean, I'm just having to beat it with a hammer and stuff. So let's go ahead and pull this head off. Let's inspect all these things, get them nice and cleaned up, and check for sure whether or not we have any slip liners. So fingers crossed everything's gonna be okay. Okay. Please be good. Okay. So minus the massive amount of carbon buildup, it doesn't look too terrible. This looks like it's been washed with fuel or something. This one's sus. All right, so I'm gonna use one of these to clean it up. Now the nice part about this thing is called a Rylock bit. So it's made out of like nylon and it's really easy on the aluminum. It's not gonna cause any real damage here. We're basically just trying to get off that old gasket material, see what we're actually working with here. Now this was a performance build. I would definitely send this to the machine shop and not do this, but this is definitely not that. We're just trying to get this thing running again. So let's go see how level this is. Cool, there's a marking on here. It says compression 9.35 to 1. That is so low. Holy cow, no wonder this thing gets such poor performance. I'm just gonna put WD-40 on these liners here because I just don't want them to rust. I'm definitely gonna have to clean out these pistons if we end up keeping this. I don't have my feeler gauges, so I'm not gonna be able to be super precise here, but I just wanna get a ballpark on this. See where we're at. It's not great, but I wonder how much of that is actually my straight edge. Not bad though. Okay, that's not bad. Now, I don't have a precise number because I don't have my feeler gauge, but that felt pretty good, and these liners here look pretty decent from what I can see. So from what I'm looking at here, there's just a ton of soot all over this. This cylinder back here in particular was just really bad. This valve is probably not even seating properly at all because it's just coated in carbon and stuff. The spark plugs themselves actually look okay, but other than that, not great. Not great, but not dead yet. So I found something very detrimental, and it's inside here. It's literally rust. I don't know how well we're gonna be able to see this. So you can see just how pitted this is. It's pretty dang deep. Now here's the liner. It's really hard to see, but there is definitely something up here. So unfortunately, this block is in dire need of repair. The only way that we're going to get this thing up and running is if we take it completely apart and bring it to a machine shop. They would have to see if they could actually bore these cylinders at all, considering how thin those things are. And I'm not even 100% certain that they haven't slipped. There's a few spots where it looks like it may have. It's going to cost so much money that it's not even going to be worth it, especially for the amount of power we get out of this motor. My actual plan of what I would really like to do to this thing is to diesel swap it. Now, I have no idea which motor I'm gonna go with, or if I'm gonna end up actually going diesel. I may end up doing LS. Any of those options is gonna be way cheaper than trying to fix this thing up just to get a measly like 200 horsepower. I'd rather get something with a ton of torque, something that we can use off-road and potentially get better gas mileage. So for right now, the plan is I'm gonna go ahead and start pricing things out and see what I can find as far as engines and transmissions and see what's available. But yeah, it's gonna be a while before this thing actually makes it out of here because it's pretty cooked. So if y'all have any input, or if you guys, anybody that's familiar with these Land Rovers, and maybe anybody that's done any of these swaps before, hit me up down in the comments. Let me know your experience with it, if it's like really worth it, or if I should just abandon this like while I have the chance before I get too deep in it. Because ideally, I don't want to spend more than like another, we'll say 10 grand most. And this thing is not meant to be a beauty queen. I just want this thing to be able to run and drive like an overland, travel around, be reliable. That's it. And hopefully get good gas mileage. But yeah, that's that's it. I guess this is the Landy, and I'm gonna have to get the Sandy out of my Vajandy. But I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a good one.